Get out of
the studio and we put a cap around your NFL. All right, so that is it for now.
Tonight on TNT, the renewal of a rivalry of NFL teams born in the 60s. But it's the bitter memory of a playoff game 20 years ago that stings the Vikings faithful to this day. The words Hail Mary mean victory to Dallas fans and defeat in Minnesota. Staubach and Pearson were the heroes then. Now a new brand of Cowboys named Emmitt, Troy, and Michael ride north looking for another victory. The rivalry continues. It's the NFL on TNT. At the Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota on a crisp September Sunday evening, week 3 of the 95 season. And fans in all kinds of guises have arrived. This guy had a little bit too much lutefisk back at Yuletide here in the land of the North. The Cowboys come north to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Dallas comes in undefeated 2-0, and Minnesota enters the fray tonight with a 1-1 record, their second home game. Good evening, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. No question, I think, that Dallas is playing as sharply as anybody in the league right now, even in midseason or late season form. And, Pat, they have at the 3 most obvious skill positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, arguably the best 3 out of anybody in the league.
Yeah, and that's why they're playing better than anybody in the league. And it starts with Troy Aikman is off to another good start. And the 3 things we want to watch about Troy Aikman tonight. One is how quickly he gets away from the line of scrimmage. I think that distinguishes him from a lot of other quarterbacks in the league. And then how quickly he reads and knows where he's going to go with the ball, and then how quickly it comes out of his hands. Those 3 things make him very difficult to defend and to sack. And then you talk about Michael Irvin. Now, this is a guy is as confident as any receiver in the game, and believe me, there's some confident ones out there. But watch the kind of routes he catches. They're not those little frilly passes on the outside. It's over the middle. It's the tough stuff. You must defend the middle of the field against Michael Irvin. But I think when you're starting with the Cowboys, you start trying to stop Emmitt Smith. He is, in my opinion, the best running back in the National Football League, period. There are guys flashier, there may be guys faster, but if you had to win a game, you pick him, you give him the ball 25 times.
Well, and he's running behind 5 sequoias in the offensive line that blot out the sun even though we're playing under glass. They're huge.
Yeah, and they're not only big, they're awfully good, and they have dominated players in the first 2 games. And you talk about, wide receivers and running backs all the time. I think fundamentally tonight's ball game is a lineman's game, and this offensive line have not given up a sack. They're the leading running team in the National Football League. They are good, and they have dominated the first 2 weeks.
Minnesota took on Detroit last week. They held Barry Sanders to 35 yards, and 12 came on the last carry of the game. Can they do the same against Emmitt Smith?
The simple answer is no, because the quarterback here can beat you. I mean, they ganged up against Barry last week with an 8-man front, but Troy Aikman can kill you. I think if Minnesota's going to win this game, they need 2 or 3 turnovers on defense. That's how they're going to win.
Well, the Vikings are not without some weapons, however. They've got an all-pro quarterback in Warren Moon and an all-pro wide receiver in Chris Carter.
And that's a pretty good place to start with those 2 guys. And Warren Moon is really running kind of a new kind of offense for him tonight. They want him to throw some shorter passes, keep the ball moving. His shoulder is still not healthy. He's only 85%, he said. But if they're going to have some big plays in the passing game, they need to be aggressive. And I think the guy they want to get the ball to is Chris Carter. You see, you set an NFL record a year ago. They need some big plays at him, Vern, and they don't necessarily need to be long plays. But I'm talking about jumping up, in the end zone and making a touchdown catch or a big 3rd down catch. So they're going to need some big plays out of Chris Carter.
Well, and Emmitt is not the only Smith in the Metrodome. Robert Smith of the Vikings has had 2 solid games at running back.
Yeah, Robert Smith, number 26, he's a good player, just beginning to emerge in the NFL as a running back. Now, he's a different kind of runner. He's tall, he's lean, he's angular, he's 6'1", but he's exceptionally fast, and defenders, take wrong angles on him. The Vikings want to get him going. They're going to give him the ball early and often.
Denny Green, the head coach, 4th season as a head coach here. They've been in the playoffs the first 3, but they've yet to win a postseason game. 31-19, a regular season mark. And his counterpart, of course, is Barry Switzer, now in his 2nd season, and 14-4 with the Cowboys. Well, he is the 3rd Cowboy head coach. Of course, Tom Landry, 36 years ago, didn't win a game, had 1 tie his first season. And Jimmy Johnson went 1-15. I think the talent pool was a little stronger when Barry Switzer came aboard. The Cowboys have won the toss. They will receive. Kevin Williams is the deep man. He's joined by Brock Marion. Here's the kick from Fawad Reveiz, and we are underway. It goes over Kevin Williams' head, out of the back of the end zone, touchback, and Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys will come on offense for the first time. Aikman, as Pat said, yet to be sacked. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and wins over the New York Giants on a Monday night, and then last week against Denver back at Texas Stadium. And he will run behind a huge offensive line.
And Vern, I think early in the game that this is an important defensive series for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, Jack Del Rio said to us yesterday, hey, my dream, my vision of this game was to have a 3-and-out. This is an important early defensive series.
Watch Esra Tuaolo, number 98, at the nose tackle spot defensively. Here's the handoff. It's hit behind the line. Emmitt Smith loses yardage. Ed McDaniel leads the defensive charge.
Just the kind of start you want. Yeah, the Vikings must make this a fourth quarter game. And the way you do that, you stay in it against the Cowboys in the first quarter. Number 58 is Ed McDaniel. He is the backside linebacker. He should make a lot of tackles. Just kind of blew right through Daryl Johnston, made the play, and that's the start the defense wanted.
To give you an idea of how difficult the task facing Minnesota is, the Cowboys have had the ball 21 times this year. Only once have they been held to 3 downs and a punt. Aikman to throw. Got him. First sack of the season. Roy Barker.
Yeah, they're still trying to fight for that 3-and-out, believe me. But you spend so much time worrying about John Randall. There's some other guys who can put some pressure on the quarterback as well. Number 92, Roy Barker, has had a big start to the season in the rushing the passer and stopping the run.
3 wide receivers. 3rd and 20. Aikman lobs it to Emmitt Smith. Gets him. 3-and-out for Minnesota.
You know, Vern, that's good defense. The Cowboys coming into this game only had 5 negative plays in their first 2 games. And they had 2 in that series. So Tony Dungy's defense set the tone, the exact tone they wanted to get done early in this game.
John Jett is on to punt. There is Tony Dungy. Defensive coordinator extraordinaire, at least for the moment. David Palmer to return it. Bad punt.
That's a shank you very much.
It gets a Cowboy roll, however. It does go out of bounds near the 48-yard line. So for John Jett, a poor punt, but a little bit of a break at the end of it. 37 yards, including about 15 on the roll. 38-year-old Warren Moon. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Going with more high percentage passes this year, Pat.
They want to cut down on the interceptions, but he said to us yesterday, Vern, that we have to play a perfect game to beat these Cowboys.
Which begins and ends with no turnovers. 1st and 10. Robert Smith, the lone setback. Here's the long pass to Jake Reed. It's behind him, and Larry Brown arguing for offensive pass interference. It'll go for an incomplete pass. Chris Carter, Jake Reed had 85 catches last year. Robert Smith with 111 yards last week surpassed his season total for 1994. And up front, Todd Stussy and Corey Stringer, a 2nd-year tackle and a rookie tackle, are going to be tested heavily tonight, with Haley and Talbert coming at them. 2nd and 10. Charles Evans stays in the backfield. He's the lead blocker for Robert Smith, who squeezes yardage over right tackle. Corey Stringer moved the pile, and they cross the 50 to the 47-yard line. Defensively for the Cowboys, familiar names now. Talbert and Haley at the defensive ends. Maryland and Leon Lett at the tackles. Robert Jones, a resuscitated career at the middle linebacker spot. Darren Smith a holdout, and Godfrey Miles is occupying his spot. And this may be the weak part of the Cowboys defensive unit, if there is one. Third down. Shotgun. Handoff Ampley. First down Minnesota at the Cowboy 41.
What a lead block by Randall McDaniel. I mean, you know, the defense did their job. They forced a 3-and-out the punt. They got good field position. And then that first third down, it's kind of a change-up play. It's a passing down. Number 64 is Randall McDaniel. Watch him lead the play here. Ampley is more of a receiver than a runner. McDaniel dominates his guy. Ampley follows that block, and they pick up a first down. So kind of a change-up call on 3rd and 5.
1st and 10. McDaniel back in his spot. Now they're going to reset the game clock. Or the play clock, rather. Our referee tonight, by the way, is Ed Hockley. From the 42, 1st and 10, double tight end set. That's Chris Carter. Heading in motion, top of the screen. Robert Smith, he's bounced backwards as he crosses the 40 to the 38. Leon Lett got him.
He got stunned. He was stunned. And Woodson got him, too. And Robert Smith is hurt. The one thing about Robert Smith, we said there are not too many running backs like him. He is tall, he is angular, and he is a big target at 6'1". Most of the good running backs you see now, Vern, are that, you know, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 200 pounds. Well, he goes 6'1", although he looks taller than that. And, you know, he presents quite a target.
Denny Green went way back in NFL history to compare him to a running back. Lenny Moore, the outstanding running back of the Colts in the 50s.
Think about this Dallas defense. They have a lot of guys that can make up some ground quick. Oh, boy, and that is Darren Woodson, the strong safety. And that is the helmet in the stomach. Ouch.
That's going to be ribs. And that's going to hurt. Time has been called.
The NFL on TNT is brought to you by Coors Light. Shipped cold to bring you all that is great about the Rockies. Tap the Rockies with Coors Light. By Steel Outdoor Power Tools. As good as you thought. Priced less than you think. By the officially licensed apparel from Lee Sport. The brand for fans like you. And by Pennzoil. The motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings.
In 1873, the beer my family brewed up here was shipped straight to nearby mining towns. It was special. Not heavy and thick like other beers of the day, but one that would really quench a working man's thirst. The secret to that crisp, refreshing taste is still part of our beers. And it will be, as long as the Coors name's on the label.
There aren't many things that can stop a 4x4. There are even fewer things that can stop a Steel. No wonder it's the #1 selling brand of chainsaw worldwide. Available in Steel territory, starting at $199.95.
Robert Smith resting himself in his ribs on the sideline. No official medical report, but Scotty Graham has taken his place. It's good to see a bit of a smile for Robert Smith. And there's Darren Woodson.
Yeah, Darren Woodson has been a force. You know, he's noted now for all the big plays he made a year ago, but he makes a lot of the little plays, like that one. I mean, stuff in the hole when you had a big gain on your hands.
Scotty Graham is in the backfield now. He started the season at tailback. Robert Smith was a contract holdout in preseason. Here's a fake reverse, and Scotty Graham is spilled as he gets down to the 37-yard line. That will bring up a 3rd and about 4 or 5. And it'll bring in the nickel defense of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, it would be a great lift for the Vikings if they could score first. Now, you know, we're still very early in this ball game, but the thing about Dallas, they're the best front-running team, I think, in the NFL. And you're playing at home, you'd love to get that first score, but to be able to do so, you have to convert this 3rd down.
Cowboys are going to go with 4 down linemen and 7 defensive backs. Greg Trimble has come in. Bill Bates, the 13-year vet, in the middle. The kind of mistake Warren Moon said they could not have.
And the snap was catchable. It was a little off. It was a little off to his left, but it was catchable. Should have been caught. Very good. Look how he actually started backing up before the ball got there, and kind of short-armed on it. Second in history. Dave Craig leads that distinguished group with 132.
My buddy Dan Fouts retired at 106, and he's going to love me bringing his name into that conversation. Nice high punt. And it's going to be down at the 1. Whoa, Mike Saxon, the former Cowboy, leads the league and puts down inside the 20, and this one...
You catch it, Vern.
Whoa! This
thing was up there. And again, they had a good defensive play and a good special teams play. I mean, so the defense did their job, the special teams have done their job, and now the Cowboy offense for the second time is backed up.
We matched a hard-hitting former prosecutor with a tough-as-nails defense attorney. Together, they take a provocative look at today's most compelling cases. Greta Van Susteren and Roger Cossack. Burden of Proof, this fall on CNN.
The quality of Snapper products is legendary. Snapper rebates are brand new. So cut a quick path to your nearest Snapper dealer and get $100 cash back on a Snapper walk mower, $200 cash back on Snapper rear engine riders, and $250 cash back on Snapper tractors. See your Snapper dealer about Snap Credit and the exclusive 10-5-2 warranty. Get made in America quality and up to $250 cash back from Snapper. The first ever rebate offer from Snapper. See dealer for details.
Videoland is the place to go for the widest selection of...
Cowboys at their own 1.5. No score, 10:04 to go first quarter. Already 2 negative plays for Dallas on the opening drive. That's Johnson and Emmitt Smith. Behind Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. Look at him dance. Look at him dart. Look at him get the Cowboys out of jail.
Kind of reminded me a little bit of a 99-yard run a guy made in a Cowboy uniform a number of years ago.
Right down from that same spot,
exactly,
as a matter of fact.
Against this very same team.
Tony Dorsett.
Absolutely. You look at Emmitt Smith, and he always seems to know where he wants to go, and he doesn't waste any steps getting there. He doesn't see people, he feels them and makes them miss.
Gain of 14 for Smith. Novacek starts in motion. 1st and 10 Dallas. They hand it to Smith again. He gets a little bit of a push back from Michael Irvin and is knocked out of bounds by Charles Mincy, number 21. There is a flag down on the far sideline. Again, the referee tonight is Ed Hockley.
Here's Charles Mincy, grabs a little face mask. And the official's right there.
That seems to be the junior variety, the adolescent call,
yes.
Not the adult.
Personal foul, face mask by the defense, number 21, 15-yard penalty, first
15.
down.
Boy, I thought it was a junior variety.
Yeah, that was a 13-year-old. That wasn't a 21-year-old. That thing couldn't vote. Dallas backs and receivers, Kevin Williams, Michael Irvin, Novacek, Emmitt Smith, and Johnson. And look at the size of this offensive line.
Yeah. And they have just dominated the first 2 games.
And the Cowboys have moved out of trouble now. They're at their own 35, 1st and 10. Johnston comes wide right. Aikman will throw. Deep left side. Michael Irvin is short and in front of him. Defensively from Minnesota, a unit that held Barry Sanders to 35 yards last week. Barker, James Harris, Tuaolo, and John Randall, 12.5 sacks last year. Thomas Del Rio and Ed McDaniel, the linebackers. And Barry Switzer feels that they can protect Troy Aikman. This secondary is vulnerable.
Yeah, they think they can work on Fuller, and they think they can work on both of those safeties.
Donald Frank was a starter last week. Corey Fuller is a rookie getting his first start in left corner. Smith at the 36. 8:45 to go first quarter.
Well, Troy Aikman, I think he can beat you with fewer passes than any quarterback in the league. You know, he's not a stat guy. He's not going to throw for 35 touchdowns or have a lot of 300-yard games.
Not a fantasy football guy.
He is not, but he will slice you and he will dice you and he will beat you with a few passes.
Kind of a Rocco sort of guy.
Yeah, Vegematic.
Right. Third down. Into the flat for Smith. Gets a block from Johnson. Oh, dandy block. That is going to be short of the first down. But Moose Johnson leveled Del Rio.
Yeah, you know, Daryl Johnson's one of those guys you don't appreciate really until you watch the tapes on Monday. You know, he's the kind of guy that'll make blocks like this. Good coverage here as Aikman looks downfield first. Then he's going to try to go to Johnson, then dumps it off. And that's the kind of confidence he has in Emmitt Smith on 3rd and long to try to give him a chance to run for him. But Del Rio got smoked.
Actually, it was Robert Griffith. That's my mistake. 24. He's the guy that got popped.
Okay.
And then Jack was down, and he got up, having been leveled.
Think about Johnston, though. In so many subtle ways, he can help their team win.
John Jett, second punt. David Palmer back to return it. This will go over. Oh, he's got it at the 10. He's dangerous. Tiny All-American at Alabama. Had a disappointing year a year ago, but don't forget about him tonight. Earlier in preseason, he had 7 punts returned against Kansas City for 201 yards. That'll keep you up at night.
We're back. No score. 7:20 in the first quarter. We referred to that 99-yard touchdown run in 1983 by Tony Dorsett. But, you know, old play-by-play guys never seem to die. Let's take you back. A young and handsome Vern Lundquist. And this
line defense for the Vikings. A handoff, Dorsett up the middle. Here he goes. Cuts to his right. Going all the way. No. To the 30. To the 40. He's got 2 men to beat. To the 40. To the 30. To the 20. To the 10. The 5. Touchdown!
very reserved call, Vern.
You know who that was, the other voice? I was working with Brad Sham, and my partner got sick that day. That was Charlie Waters, who was called.
Is that right?
Yes, and Charlie, right down here about the 25, Charlie's Cowboy allegiance overcame him. And he said, he's going to score. I thought, well, that'll go in the archives.
He was right. He was right.
Oh, dear. I had a few more hairs there.
We all did.
In the backfield, Robert Smith is popped by Charles Haley.
And Charles Haley is a guy that's just going to blow right by Todd Stussy, number 73. I mean, he tries. It's almost a Nolan Ryan no-hitter. I mean, he puts the hands out there, and Charles Haley gets a little ole, and he makes the stop.
We chatted with Robert Smith yesterday, the young man from Ohio State, and talked about running right at Haley. He said, well, he's an exceptional pass defender. He's a good run defender. We'll put it that way.
He's pretty good on Appalachia.
Run back. Nunn will run. Whoa, man. Cowboys have it, Leon left.
That's twice now Warren has lost the ball. Once in the shotgun formation, and this just comes right out of his hand without a problem. And mind you, this Minnesota team is not good enough to win tonight by making mistakes. They must play an error-free game. And this is their first significant error of the evening. I mean, that's just losing the handle. And again, they're not a... the Vikings are an average football team. They're not a dominant team. And to stay in with the Cowboys, you can't turn it over.
Unfortunately, that's going to make its way to the football follies.
Yep.
For Warren, I say unfortunate. It just slipped. And here are the Cowboys at the Minnesota 20.
Well, this is a situation you may want Michael Irvin on a post pattern.
There goes Michael Irvin. Got it. Touchdown, Dallas. I believe it was a post pattern.
You know, they were going to... Michael Irvin runs that skinny little post pattern. I mean, he is the wide guy, and all they're trying to do is create a matchup with the corner and the safety. He's the wide guy, number 88, top of the screen. The inside receiver ties up the free safety. Michael Irvin makes a great adjustment to the ball in the air. and they have the touchdown.
Michael Irvin is tied in number of 100-yard receiving days for the Cowboys with 26. Last week, he came 6 yards short of holding the record by himself. Wants to get it tonight. Whoa, 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 wow.
My, was that a bad kick?
That was awful. That looked like the Kansas City-Oakland game this afternoon.
Well, they felt if they could protect Troy Aikman, they could work on these corners and safeties. And you get Michael Irvin in the first post pattern of the evening. A terrific adjustment. When the ball's in the air, he owns it.
Coming into tonight's game, the Cowboys were perfect in what they call the red zone. That's the area inside the 20. 8 of 8. Well, make it 9 of 9. That's perfection of the highest order.
They are just so hard to stop. It's kind of like balancing the federal budget. It's easy to talk about, but real hard to do.
It's easier for you to talk about than some of us.
Yeah.
That, by the way, was Chris Boniol's first career miss of a point after touchdown. The last Cowboy miss was by Lynn Elliott in 1993. Lynn Elliott's the guy who missed the field goal in the game this afternoon. Here's John Baker kicking off. It's taken by David Palmer, returning kickoffs as well as punts tonight. And they like his chances doing this. And that's a pretty good effort. The Vikings get it out to the 33. Well, the Cowboy coaches were going to run the post to Michael Irvin the first time inside the 25. You think Barry Switzer liked the results?
Well, it's a nice thing when you feel like you have a game plan and things work. And that obviously did. And now the Vikings, they had a defensive game plan. They wanted a 3-and-out. That happened early in this game. The offense didn't capitalize on good field position. And now Warren Moon hasn't really gotten the rhythm of this thing. Fumbled the last time, and now they're battling that Dallas thing that everybody seems to battle. They have this year.
6-0 Dallas. Moon has 2 fumbles thus far in the game. 1 lost. That pass complete right side. Andrew Jordan, the tight end, number 89, makes the grab.
Yeah, the Vikings have 2 tight ends. They do 2 different things. Andrew Jordan is the receiving tight end, and Adrian Cooper, number 87, he's the blocking tight end.
Andrew Jordan got kicked out of last week's game. There's Cooper. He hit a guy from behind. That cost him in the pocketbook as well as an ejection. 6-0 at the 6-minute mark.
Oh, that was his head.
Jack Del Rio was talking about the frenzy that happens when teams get behind Dallas. Oh, what a pop on Robert Smith.
Boy, I tell you, these defensive backs are popping Robert Smith. One time it was Darren Woodson. That time it was Larry Brown. And think about these Cowboys. You can't run outside on these guys, I don't believe. They are just too quick on defense. He pops it outside because of some inside penetration, some very quick penetration. I think it was Shante Carver, and he forces him outside. But they have so much speed with Haley and those defensive backs, you don't have a chance.
Charles Haley favoring his left leg, muscle pull of some sort. Shante Carver is on the field. See if Haley leaves. Del Rio was talking about what happens when you get behind Dallas. He said all of a sudden you're in awe of what they're doing, and trying to play catch up against these guys is just darn near impossible.
As we watch Charles Haley, we talked about on the pregame show, everybody's made a big thing about signing Deion Sanders, but I think the fact that Charles Haley decided not to retire is as equally a large story as they signing Deion Sanders. They're a dominant defense with Charles Haley. They're not without him.
I thought we were going to go the whole night without mentioning.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was in the context of Charles Haley, though.
I understand, so you're forgiven.
Okay.
6-0. 2nd and 13. Moon, draw play. Robert Smith. Big hole. Wow, the race is on. Edwards, or Woodson rather, catches up with him. But a nifty run of 44 yards for Robert Smith.
Okay, the umpire gave him a good block, and Randall McDaniel, number 64, gives him a good block. The umpire kind of screens somebody. He makes him miss. Jake Reed, number 86, the wide receiver, picks up a good block. And when your wide receivers block, Vern, 5-yard runs become 44-yard runs, and that's what Robert Smith had right there. That's good blocking all the way around.
Amp Lee will give Robert Smith a rest. Charles Evans is in the backfield on 1st and 10. A 44-yard romp. Here's a 3-step setup. Amp Lee, who is excellent out of the backfield catching passes, grabs that one and then is tackled by Dixon Edwards, number 58. Lee, who spent 2 years with the San Francisco 49ers, a career high of 45 receptions last year in this pass-happy offense. They want to reduce the number of passes this year, Pat. They threw, nearly 600.
Yeah, 40 a game. And one of the things they said, hey, we want control passes, and we don't want the turnover. We don't want Warren Moon throwing as many interceptions as he did a year ago.
Robert Smith back as the deep back in the eye. They go to the right side. Evans misses a block, but Smith turns the corner. A flag is down. Robert Smith knocked out of bounds by Clayton Holmes, who claims he was held.
You know, Robert Smith has extraordinary speed. He's not fast. He's extraordinarily fast. And we talk about people sometimes taking the wrong angle on him. I mean, he's tall, he's angular, he's got that long stride, and I think he fools defenders, and they really take the wrong tackling angles.
How fast is he, you ask? Well, he was a member of the Ohio State 4x400 meter relay team that had the fastest time in the world.
Number 89, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
In 1993.
Yeah.
Holding, wipes out the run.
Again, the long loping stride, and then again, you think you have the angle. I mean, it looks like Woodson thought he had the angle, and then he outran him. I mean, that's what he does. He fools you with his speed. Poor angle there by Darren Woodson.
Clayton Holmes is right. We have a report from the Cowboy bench. Charles Haley, a strained left hamstring. He might not be back. Second down. Amp Lee in the backfield. A 4-wide receiver set this time. Here's Moon. Draw play. Lee dances right, in trouble down at the 20. And the crowd didn't care for the play selection.
Yeah.
Or the execution either.
Yeah. Well, they have to come out of this thing with at least 3 points. So what Warren Moon can't do here is take a sack, and certainly can't throw the interception. If it's close, throw it away. But remember, we also said that this is where you got to have a guy like Chris Carter come up and make a play. Play big. I mean, play your size. Out-jump somebody. And this is where you'd love to see Chris Carter get a chance.
Shante Carter is in at right end for the Cowboys. Chris Carter in the slot. Here's Moon back on third down. Screen pass. Oh, boy. Leon Lepp.
He's a force. Recovered a fumble. Stopped the screen. We were talking to Dave Campbell, the defensive coordinator, and said, when he's on, when he decides to play, you can't block him. He said, we just got to get him to play every down. Because when he plays hard, you just can't stop him.
That brings on Fuad Reveiz to try his 31st consecutive field goal. Last week he hit 2, and that set a new NFL record. He broke the mark held by John Carney. Mike Saxon will hold. Mike Morris will snap it. Everything's good. The kick is on the way. Make it 31 in a row for Fuad Reveiz. A 42-yard effort. It was last week when he set the record, and it was a 32-yard kick. Mike Saxon bobbled the hole, and it was only the fact that they'd worked together for so long that allowed Reveiz to stay back. Well, Mike Saxon said, actually, it wasn't Mike Morris's best snap. Well, the offensive line took umbrage at that. So earlier this week, they grabbed Mike Saxon and they taped him up in the weight room.
Right to the weight room. I mean, actually to one of the machines, one of the equipment, man. It was like 18 rolls of tape and could not extricate himself from the mess.
Mike said that wasn't as bad as what happened to former Viking kicker Rich Karlis here a couple of years ago. Karlis' wife said she didn't want him hanging around with offensive linemen because they dressed funny. They taped him up and strung him over the goalpost and hooked him like a marlin and then took pictures of him. Hijinks are not done here in the land of the North.
That's great.
Oh, well. There's another example of
one of the fans.
Too much lutefisk.
He's wondering why people don't get goosebumps on their face.
I saw that guy at the cross country in Lillehammer. And in the meantime, more serious conversations with Warren Moon and Chris Carter. Brian Billick, offensive coordinator, to the left. Charles Haley, strained hamstring. 6-3 game. Fuad Reveiz will kick off. Kevin Williams at the 2. Richard Brown, who is here because of his special teams play. He played for Gary Zonner before at San Diego State.
Yeah, you know you're a number 52. You know you're a good special teams player when you've been special teams captain of 2 different teams. Was in San Diego, was in Cleveland. He's about to be here in Minnesota. This guy is a force on special teams.
Gary Zonner is a special teams coach of the Vikings, was at San Diego State. He recruited Richard Brown. He recruited Mike Saxon. He's got 4 former San Diego State players filling special teams roles for the Vikings. 6-3 Dallas. Smith. Fumble! I believe the Vikings have it.
Well, Tony Dungy's defense creates turnovers. They've done it since he's been the coordinator here in 1992. And Vern, we said for Minnesota to win this game, they needed to create 2 or 3 turnovers. They just got one. Now this is a guy, Emmitt Smith, who does not fumble the ball off. But when you play against the Vikings, you know they're going to be stripping the ball. It was Corey Fuller that stripped it. Number 27, the rookie out of Florida State. Now, 3 or 4 purple jerseys were there, but Dungy's defenses turned the ball over, and last year they scored 7 touchdowns on defense.
Emmitt Smith, a rare mistake. First fumble in 131 carries. Backs are split. Boom. Draw play. Robert Smith, ankle tackle behind the line of scrimmage. It was Charles Haley who is back out there. What a warrior.
Unbelievable. You know, but since Tony Dungy is taken over, he has had 113 turnovers since 1992. It's unbelievable. It's no accident.
Player down. Chris Hinton, the right guard, number 78.
That's a guy they really need in their run game, Chris Hinton.
And is assisted to the sidelines. Everett Lindsey, who backs up almost every position on the offensive line, will move into right guard now, number 61. Second down and 9. 90 seconds to go, opening quarter. Carter in motion to the right side. Quick setup, left side, caught. Jake Reed. That's short of the first down at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, there's some hitting going on by these defensive backs. I mean, Larry Brown twice has tagged some guys. We saw Darren Woodson tag Robert Smith. You know, the Vikings felt if there was a weakness on this Dallas defense, they thought they could pick on the corners, but Larry Brown has responded, certainly in the run game and in the tackling game tonight.
Robert Smith comes out. Amp Lee will stay in. It'll be 3rd and 1. Double tight end set. Cooper comes to the left side. Quick pass. Dandy play to Carter. Nicely conceived offensive play.
Absolutely. They needed big plays from Chris Carter, not necessarily long plays, Vern. And a 3rd and 2, well, you need to keep the drive alive. This is a big play. He's number 80. He's the man outside. It's kind of a little delay. Amp Lee goes in the flat. He gets all the attention. Chris Carter just to catch a small little pass, a short little pass, and he is a strong guy after the catch. The play is not over when he catches it.
Carter comes to the left side. Back to the eye. 1st and goal from the 5 officially. Robert Smith cuts it up the middle over the block of Jeff Christie.
This is one series where Minnesota would love to punch it in. I mean, and we talked about, you know, always chasing Dallas. You get a lead here at home, the crowd gets into it, and I think you play 10-15% better.
Well, if they're going to punch it in, they're going to punch it in at the south end of the Metrodome. We've reached the end of one. It's 6-3 Cowboys. Back at the Metrodome, where Emmitt Smith is still pondering that fumble. On the left is Smith, who fumbled. The right is Michael Irvin. Which one scored the touchdown?
Yeah. Michael may be laughing, but that's a very focused and disappointed Emmitt Smith. You saw that he didn't fumble the ball much, and his team right now is not, performing like they did in their first 2 games. And give the Vikings some credit. They've done a pretty good job, special teams and on defense.
35-0 over the Giants in game 1, 31-21 last week over Denver at home. Right now it's 6-3, and the Vikings have a 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line, trailing by that trio of points. Robert Smith, Charles Evans in the backfield. Evans, number 29, lead blocker. He starts in motion. Moon to throw. Into the flat for Robert Smith. And boy, there was nothing out there. Godfrey Miles, the linebacker, number 98, was the only one out there.
And Godfrey Miles had that thing covered all over the place. I mean, remember, Godfrey Miles is really their 4th outside linebacker. Darren Smith, you mentioned they haven't been able to sign him yet, holding out. But Godfrey Miles was the guy that played in part of that depth thing that Dallas has had. And when you thought about Dallas winning those 2 championships a couple of years ago, I think that would distinguish them was their depth. They're still awfully good, the best right now, but they don't have the depth they had a couple of years ago.
3rd and goal, 6-3 Dallas.
Got to give Chris Carter a chance.
Boom, drills it, touchdown. Jake Reed. Emmitt Smith. There are a couple of contrasting ends of the spectrum.
Well, each team has had a turnover, and each team has turned it into a touchdown.
First time Dallas has trailed this year.
And what you like with Jake Reed is his size. He is 6'3", and he is physical. And he's matched up against Clayton Holmes at 5'10". He gets inside position, the game is over. When you have that size advantage and you get inside position, it's over. You win, you score.
First touchdown of the season for Jake Reed. The extra point by Revés is up and good. Clayton Holmes, who is occupying a spot filled by Kevin Smith, out with an Achilles injury. And this time the battle is won by the taller guy. Leaders, Emmitt Smith, and these are up-to-date stats with 300 yards now in 2 games and a quarter. Natrone Means of San Diego only 3 back. Barry Sanders at 290. Terry Allen at 272. Robert Smith at 228. So Emmitt Smith will be the leader at the end of week 3, but right now that is the farthest thing from his mind.
Well, he had 7 carries for 8 yards or more a week ago. I mean, the consistency, not only throughout the game, but week in, week out of Emmitt Smith is remarkable.
Revés kicks it off. Kevin Williams at the 9. Oh, he's dangerous. Out to the 31-yard line. Richard Brown again and Fernando Smith collaborate on the tackle, and the Cowboy offense will come back on the field.
But this is a team that you mentioned them being behind for the first time this year. Clearly they don't panic. These guys have played together for a long time. They're stars when you think about Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Novacek and Tuanay Newton. They've all played at least 6 years together,
and they've got a few years left.
Absolutely. They're all signed to at least 4 more years.
First and 10 Dallas, backs in the eye. Smith and Johnson behind Troy Aikman. Play action. Aikman wanted to go deep. He settles instead short. And the catch is made by Emmitt Smith, beg your pardon. The tackle made by Dwayne Washington.
I want to amend that. They're all signed except for Emmitt Smith. He only has 1 year left, but they're stars, so they're going to be around here for a long time. I mean, Emmitt Smith can he can hit a home run. His first carry this year was 60 yards, and then he can kind of nickel and dime you. He just kind of stay out here and catch a little pass like this, make a guy miss, and you kind of bleed a slow death. He can body punch you, and then he can knock you out.
Defense number 87, the 5-yard penalty and automatic first down.
Called 87. That's a tight end, so that's the wrong number. But it is against the Vikings and moves it out to the 35-yard line.
Johnny Green finds himself in a division that is going to, again, I think, go down the last week. No clear favorite in the NFC Central.
Well, Detroit loses again this afternoon. Green Bay's won a couple now. You know, I was thinking about Emmitt Smith's first run of the season, 60 yards against the Giants. They haven't recovered from that one run.
No.
And they're 0-3. And here Minnesota leads at 10-6, 13:42 to go in the first half of play. Michael Irvin comes near side, number 88. Novacek in motion. Smith. Flag is down on the far side. Smith is down at the 40-yard line.
Even when you think you've done a pretty good job of defensing Emmitt Smith, he picks up 5 yards. I mean, that wasn't bad defense. Good lead block by Darrell Johnston, too.
Offside by the defense, number 92, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's Roy Barker, the left defensive end. Had a sack of Aikman on the first drive. Our coverage of the NFL on TNT continues next Sunday with the Coors Light Pro Football Tonight pregame show at 7 o'clock Eastern. Then at 8 o'clock, we'll watch the Green Bay Packers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars from Jacksonville Municipal Stadium next Sunday right here on TNT.
Boy, did Reggie White have another day today.
I thought about that. Nate Newton last night did a marvelous impression of Reggie White. He sounds just like him. Aikman pumps, goes deep, man-for-man coverage, and it's over the head of Michael Irvin. Good coverage from Corey Fuller, number 27, the rookie from Florida State.
You know, that's one thing you don't see much of the Cowboys, throwing the ball down the field deep. I mean, they run those skinny posts and the ends and things, but they don't throw the ball downfield a lot since Alvin Harper left. Now, you're going to see the pressure that Aikman gets. I think it's John Randall takes a pretty good shot. I mean, Troy Aikman, as any of the top quarterbacks in the league are, he is tough first. He's a football player first, a quarterback second.
Notice he's got that plastic chin strap on again. 3 stitches in his chin again last week. He said he's had stitches every season since he was a senior in high school. Emmitt Smith to the 41-yard line. And that will bring up a third down.
This defense did a great job with Barry Sanders last week, and they're doing a pretty good job so far tonight. He has 6 carries, 24 yards, and they are getting a lot of purple jerseys around Emmitt Smith.
That man is going to turn 40 this year in October, that man being Tony Dungy. Someday the doors are going to open. He's going to be a head coach. It's just got to happen.
I don't understand why it hasn't already happened.
It's an amazing thing. Corey Fleming in at wide receiver now on 3rd down and 5. That's short of the first down at the 45-yard line. Dwayne Washington and Robert Griffin, 20 and 24 respectively.
Good defensive ball game here. I mean, Barry Switzer felt they could throw on the Vikings, but they haven't been able to run particularly well. And just like Barry Sanders didn't really have anywhere to run last week, they played 8-man up near the line of scrimmage. I mean, every gap seems to be filled here. And you get 2 guys sometimes in the gap, and that means you're going to be punting a lot.
John Jett is on to punt for the 3rd time. David Palmer waits for it. This could be returned. Nope. It bounces in front of Palmer, and it goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Make it the 6. We've got a ball game. 11:37 to go, first half. 10-6 Vikings. Me blush. And at 55, I don't blush well. Everett Lindsey stays in at right guard. Warren Moon has hit his last 7 passes. See how conservative he keeps it here. He'll throw it. He goes deep, right side to Chris Carter. And good coverage by Brock Marion and Darren Woodson of the Cowboys.
Yeah, a lot of things happen when you're a quarterback in the NFL. You know, we sometimes take for granted a simple completion, but the protection has to be right. You've got bodies flying all over the place. But what he did there was just give only one player a chance to catch that ball, and that was Chris Carter. And when you're backed up in the end zone, it's the right play. But they need a first down desperately. You can't afford to give Dallas good field position all night long. They need a first down in this series.
2nd and 10 now from the 6. Moon across the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands. Should have been caught.
Yeah, should have been caught. Should have been caught. And those are the kind of plays you look back on and you say, geez, you know, we ended up having to punt out of our own end zone when you maybe could have got the first down. Would have been a tough catch, but that was catchable by Robert Smith.
Brings up a 3rd and 10. Minnesota is 3 of 5 on 3rd down conversions early in the game. Treacherous play now. Moon 7 of 10.
Well, here's one of those situations again with those big physical receivers, Jake Reed and Chris Carter. But a lot of teams have one physical receiver. These guys have 2 of them.
The shotgun. Moon the time. Goes it across the middle to Carter. First down. That one was a rope at the 17-yard line. And a big play for Warren Moon and Chris Carter.
Chris Carter is not a wide receiver. He's a football player. A lot like Michael Irvin. I mean, you start with those guys, and they're always making the tough ones. And that was another big play. Not a long play, Vern, but when you need it on 3rd down, he's the slot receiver, number 80, and Warren Moon is waiting for him to get open. He's holding the ball even though he's in the pocket. He clears the linebacker, and then the ball is zipped inside to him. That's a heck of a play.
Carter's 2nd catch of the night, 1st down and 10. Evans leads in motion, and Robert Smith is jammed up. Russell Maryland was quick off the ball that time and beat Everett Lindsey, got through for the stop. People tend to forget that this guy was the #1 draft choice in the NFL in '91.
And it was because of plays like this. I mean, he's a gap kind of player, a lot like John Randall. I mean, if you don't get your hands on him early in the play, he's going to disrupt the play. And he did right there. And he's breathing better because he's got one of those nose things.
Whoops. Charles Haley.
He is as disruptive as a hyperactive child. I mean, he is always going to come off the corner, and then sometimes he's going to fake it and come inside. And the Vikings said, hey, we had to have 4 different ways to try to block him tonight. Well, they haven't done a particularly good job of blocking Charles Haley. Number 94 is going to come in from the right. This time it's an inside move. Goes right by Jeff Christie, the center, and McDaniel. I mean, you're so worried about him beating you to the outside. You forget every once in a while he's going to stop and come inside on you.
That's the first sack of the night for Warren Moon and the Vikings. They look at a 3rd and 22, and this ball is whistled down.
You have to be real careful in this situation for 2 reasons. One, you can't.
Game by the offense. After this is the goal, it remains 3rd down.
Okay, one, clearly you can't throw the interception. But 2, your offensive lineman can't have a penalty in the end zone. It's a safety. So, you know, one thing Warren's saying, hey, if you're going to hold, don't do it in the end zone. Make sure it's on the 2-yard line. I don't mind you holding, protect me. Just don't do it in the end zone.
Right. 3rd and 25. John Jarrett is on the field down to the 46. Left side behind Jake Reed, and the Vikings will have to punt from their own end zone.
And Joe Avezzano's special teams can block punts and kicks. They have had 13 block punts and kicks over the last 5 years, and they always put pressure on the punter. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they come after Mike Saxon right now.
Mike Saxon, the former Cowboy, as well as a former Patriot. Make sure he doesn't have his heel on the back line. They do not come. They've got the return on. Saxon nice and high. Kevin Williams at the 50. All in all, not bad downfield coverage. Orlando Thomas, number 43, made the tackle. Remember the story we told you about Mike Saxon getting taped this week? Orlando Thomas got taped yesterday. The rookie was late to practice with the donuts. He'll learn.
Yeah.
9:20 to go, first half of play. Vikings lead at 10-6. Remember, we told you how difficult it was to contain Dallas. They had only one 3-and-out series in their first 21 drives in games 1 and 2. Well, tonight, take a look at this. They've had 3 punts and 2 3-and-out drives.
That's just good defense by the Vikings. I mean, they have really kind of taken away the run of Emmitt Smith, and that's where the Cowboys start.
Aikman under his center. Ray Donaldson will throw on first down. Right flat. That's good. In front of Corey Fleming. Number 27, Michael Irvin.
Think about the Cowboys, though, Vern. You know, you let them hang around, and sooner or later they are going to, you know, they're going to come up with some big plays. And Michael Irvin has a tremendous cushion there. That's a little bit easy. That's too easy. I mean, that's on the rookie Corey Fuller. And there's Jay Novacek, and he has not been a factor yet tonight, but I still maintain you've got to jam him at the line of scrimmage, otherwise he's going to kill you.
First and 10 from the 27-yard line. Play action again. Aikman settles for the short man, Emmitt Smith, and he moves it down near the 22-yard line. That's a pickup of maybe 6. It'll be second down and 4. The Cowboys, by the way, making this trip up from Dallas yesterday, did not get off to a great start. Their charter flight was delayed 2.5 hours and mechanical. They actually sat in the plane for that time and then had to change planes. They got here about 6:30 last night. The luggage did arrive with them, which is good news.
Yeah, you need it in this game. You need the luggage to arrive.
Second and 5 at the 8-minute mark. Jack Del Rio, who played for a number of years in Dallas, came to Minnesota as a Plan B selection.
Yeah, you know, this is the guy you can depend upon, Jack Del Rio. Just started his 100th game. Actually, he's never missed a practice the last 4 years for the Vikings. I mean, a guy you know he's going to show up. He's been very effective in the passing game. You see his tackles there. And over the last 2 years, nobody's intercepted, no linebacker has intercepted more passes than he. He's intercepted 7.
Third and 4. Kevin Williams comes left. Aikman, slam back. Not dropped. Not dropped. It was knocked away by Corey Fuller, the rookie. That was just a good defensive play.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them tonight. We have seen a lot of good defensive plays, really by both teams. But Corey Fuller, the rookie, and we talked to him this week. He said, you know, I'm nervous, but I'm not intimidated. I mean, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I have a chance to distinguish myself, and he did right there.
Okay, trivia question for the night.
Okay.
What do Corey Fuller and Deion Sanders have in common?
Well, university.
Yep, Florida State. They got the same
cellular phone, so.
Yeah. Bonio. That thing looked like a Hoyt Wilhelm pitch. It knuckled in there, though, and the Cowboys get on the board following the 39-yard field goal. 10-9. Vikings get the ball back when we return.
Feel the rush.
7:12 remaining first half. Minnesota leading by a 10-9 count. And the Vikings getting ready to return the kickoff. Warren Moon had a streak of 7 in a row at one point, but his fumble recovered by the Cowboys led to a 19-yard touchdown. The missed extra point has proven the difference in the game right now. Here's John Baker to kick off. This one will be returned. It's David Palmer coming up to the 8-yard line. And Palmer is popped as he gets out across the 20 to the 23-yard line.
Let's go, Larry.
Reggie Barnes, number 56, with the tackle, and here come the Vikings.
Well, you know, their defense has played well. Their special teams have played well. The offense really hasn't done, you know, a lot tonight. The one thing they have done is been able to get Robert Smith involved in the game. He's got 49 yards already on 9 carries. He had one long run of 44 yards.
Yeah, I think that's a significant part. Actually, he's got 8 carries for 5 yards if you take away the 44-yarder.
Good man.
Well, I got my calculator out. Jake Reed. That'll move the sticks out to the 40-yard line.
You know, we were talked about it, Vern, a little bit. Is, you know, everybody seems to have one of these big guys. What makes the Vikings a little bit different, I think they have two of these big guys. And, you know, the play just starts when they catch the ball because they're strong and they can break tackles. They can break tackles like a good running back or make guys miss. And, you know, Jake Reed was a big difference for them a year ago. 85 catches. The year before, he only caught 11. So he had a breakout year a year ago.
That's a gain of 16 and a first down at the 40-yard line. Robert Smith, oh dear. Robert Jones.
A lot of Robert in that play.
Yes, Smith and Jones.
Yeah. There's a guy you have to admire, though, Robert Jones. And he played this play perfectly. He is number 55, the middle linebacker right here. But he fought through some things, and he fought through some traffic right here. Goes through McDaniel and just smothers Robert Smith. You know, he was drafted to be the starting middle linebacker, then got in, and they won a championship. Next year he gets demoted, but you have to admire he didn't quit. He kept fighting, kept practicing. He's back starting again. He's had a very good start to the season.
Time has called by the Vikings. I think the play clock may have been winding down, and Warren Moon said, let's stop the clock and talk it over. So they have 2 remaining. Second down and 11.
Great quarterback, Mark Brunell, whom Philadelphia really wanted as their quarterback. We ended up in Jacksonville, and I think Mark Brunell is going to be a heck of a player one of these days.
We'll be there. In the meantime, we've got 2 quarters and about 5 minutes to go here. Amp Lee is on, as are Jake Reed, Chris Carter, Andrew Jordan, and Qadri Ismail. It was Ismail who caught an 85-yarder for the decisive touchdown and went over Detroit last week. A deflected pass. 4-man rush. Moon rolls out, finds his tight end, and they move the ball out to the 48-yard line. Does Adrian Cooper, and Dixon Edwards makes the tackle. Nice play.
Actually, Andrew Jordan there, the other tight end. He's the receiving tight end, and Cooper's that blocking tight end.
I knew that.
Yeah, I knew you knew that. But I'll tell you, that's a nice little play-action fake. They get you in that third and short. I mean, they have mixed it up a little bit, the Vikings have, where they've tried to throw the ball to their big wide receivers, and that off a little boot action to get away from Charles Haley.
3rd and 1. Blitz. Moon. Across the middle, got first down. Chris Carter.
You know, that's a big little play again.
Right.
I mean, and a patient throw by Warren Moon. He wanted to throw this ball out into the left flat. He wanted to throw this to Robert Smith in the left flat, and he was taken away. But he didn't rush it, even though he knew there was a blitz. Courageous in the pocket. He finds number 80, Chris Carter, and even though it's only a 3 or 4 yard gain, that's still a big little play. Or a little big play.
I like that. I like that. I'm not sure which one I prefer. Strong play. Robert Smith breaks a tackle. This is what Danny Green said surprised so many people about Robert Smith. That he breaks tackles. He's much stronger than you think.
And what he says is that I wouldn't release Terry Allen until I found out that he was strong enough and tough enough, and he is.
Now let's take a look at the Lee Sports scoreboard. Get you up to date on what happened today. Arizona comes from behind and wins that one. 2nd down and 6. 10-9 is our score. Carter in motion. Blitz again. Dandy. Warren Moon saw the blitz, had a slant pattern. Jake Reed says we're going that way.
A perfect throw and a physical catch. Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator, was saying to us this week, we need to have Jake Reed really step up and have a game. Well, he's done that in the first half when they've needed him. It's those short slant passes, and you've got some physical plays, and that's Jake Reed's 4th catch of the night.
Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator. First down and 10 at the 30-yard line. They hand it inside to Charles Evans. 3rd-year running back from Clark Atlanta College.
The other thing that Minnesota is doing is controlling the time of possession, which is a key thing against this Dallas team. I mean, Dallas has so many weapons on offense and can beat you a lot of different ways, but they're really controlling the ball, and they've been able to score as well.
Cowboys looked unbeatable in games 1 and 2 this year. Remember last year, game 3, Monday night, they lost to Detroit. Look at the time of possession.
Yeah, there you go. I don't remember, but thanks for reminding me.
They fake the toss. Moon rolls out. He hits Tony Tolbert right in his face, and he finds Jordan, the tight end, to the 30-yard line. But Tony Tolbert was introducing himself to Warren Moon.
And Tony Tolbert was talking to us yesterday saying, hey, the one thing about Warren Moon, you can't let him get started, because if he gets started well, he is very tough to stop. Second time they've run this boot in a row. And with an aggressive defense, a defense that hits a lot of gaps, there's a lot of movement, an effective play, the boot play. They've done it twice successfully.
35, 10-9 as we near the 2-minute warning. And Lee is the running back. Moon, quick setup. And that ball is knocked away by Darren Woodson, number 28.
It tells you something, though, Vern, about how the Cowboys feel about Darren Woodson, a strong safety, when they line him up on Chris Carter one-on-one, and then he does a job like that. Darren Woodson is a heck of a player. In the slot is Chris Carter, number 80. Woodson gets his hands on him within the 5-yard zone and then knocks the ball away. That's good defense by Woodson.
And that's going to bring on Fuad Revez to try a 48-yard field goal. This would be his 32nd in a row. He's had one of 48 in this streak. He also had one of 51 yards. He's made his last 31. Fuad Revez, Mike Morris will snap it. Mike Saxon will hold it. And the streak is over. His brother Carlos, who is a kicker at Tennessee, is here, and I'm sure he'll commiserate with his brother Fuad when this game is over. The streak ends at 31. Matt Stover of the Cleveland Browns is now the current holder. He's hit 23. First and 10, Dallas. They trail by 1. Aikman gets back, goes deep left side. That's a bounce pass, and it's incomplete in the hands of Michael Irvin.
It's amazing. This first half, Dallas only has 70 total yards, 27 rushing yards. Now, mind you, they came into this game, averaging 197 yards rushing. They've dominated people, but the Viking defense has kind of kept them on their heels.
Coming up for the Fruit of the Loom halftime report, Vince Giuliani, the no-huddle highlights, a fast-paced look at the big plays of the day. Ernie Johnson will have a special guest. That's a minute 56 away from now, 2nd and 10. Stunts by the Viking defense. Aikman goes right side. Michael Irvin at the 41 of Minnesota.
Yeah, that ball was thrown with some velocity. The pass before was not. That thing was thrown on time with velocity, and there's no reaction time when you throw it that hard to Michael Irvin.
21-yard gain, first down. Cowboys do have all 3 timeouts left. Bobbled the ball, and Aikman fell on it.
I think he was wondering whether somebody swiped the ball, maybe. He calls a timeout.
Cowboys use one of theirs, and they have 2 left.
The ball came up. He started. The snap was started, and it looked like it stopped. It looked like a double clutch on the snap. But in any event, you can look at it one of 2 ways. The Cowboy offense is out of sync, or the Viking defense is playing awfully well.
Ray Donaldson is the new center, of course. Mark Stepnoski took free agency and departed Dallas. Donaldson, 16 years with the Colts, Seattle.
And you think about this offensive line, and Hudson Houck, the offensive line coach, maybe the assistant coach of the year thus far in the NFL, because they had to replace Stepnoski, as you said. Larry Allen's a new guy at right guard. Eric Williams, they've had to rehabilitate them, and yet the beat goes on. I mean, these guys, they put some new guys in there. They give the ball to Emmitt, and generally think good things happen.
From the 43, second down and 12. 10-9, Minnesota leads it. pressure. Johnson has it, and even in Minnesota, the moose call is heard. Well, appropriately in Minnesota, you get a moose call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, where else would you get a moose call but up here?
Well, this is your old stomping grounds, you old Swede, Norwegian, you.
Jompen Yemeni.
Well, yeah, can you name 3 words that begin with FJ other than fjord? Come on. Huh? Get back to me.
I've got to think about that one. I wondered where you were last night. You're in the library again, huh? Time has been called. Great ones. And he said, I know Troy Aikman's got it. Whatever it is.
The total package.
The total package. He said, I think Marino's got it. I know Aikman's got it. Pretty good tribute. He's back. Novacek. Boy, you don't see that very often. Whoa, man.
A very uncharacteristic performance, an offensive performance by the Cowboys tonight. I mean, a fumble by Smith, a drop by Jabe Novacek. Got the matchup you wanted on a linebacker, Thomas. Perfectly thrown ball, and they're going to go for it. Now, 4th and 2, ordinarily is a passing down. But when you have a guy like Emmitt Smith, I think you can do either. I think you can take a chance and give him the ball, and certainly you can throw it.
Thus far this year, the Cowboys 2 of 2 on 4th downs. 4th and 2. Smith behind his right tackle. Aikman will throw. Got it. Irvin. That'll be a first down at the 31.
Michael Irvin over the middle of the field again. If you don't defend the middle against the Cowboys, you're in trouble. Because that's where most of their key plays come. In the running game and in the passing game.
Aikman. Kevin Williams. Incomplete. Good defensive job.
As we see Kevin Williams, Vern, I think for the Cowboys, they have to find a replacement for Alvin Harper. They're hoping Kevin Williams can be the guy. The Vikings found the replacement for Anthony Carter and Jake Reed. The Cowboys need to find that replacement for Alvin Harper. They hope Kevin Williams can be the guy, but they're not going to have the dynamic long passes they had a year ago with Alvin Harper.
Kevin Williams had this one in his hands. Good defensive job by Broderick Thomas. It's 2nd down and 10. Back split, stunts and a blitz, and good protection from Aikman. He draws it at the 15-yard line. First down, Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin's a great loose ball receiver. I mean, the ball's in the air. He considers it his. Now Jay Novacek, number 84, kind of sets up the deep throw. He kind of occupies kind of people in the middle. And, you know, that's a nice play. He kind of short-armed him intentionally because he knew Michael Irvin was behind him. I mean, the short arm wasn't fear. The short arm was because he felt Irvin behind him.
Yeah, no alligator arms there.
I knew it was coming. Yeah. Well, those are the intentional alligator arms there.
The trouble is he has that same posture when the check comes.
Well, you know, now you find yourself in a situation, you know, you played well all first half. I'm talking about Minnesota. And you think you're going to go into the halftime with a lead, and then a methodical Cowboy team. Sometimes they can, you know, beat you with big plays, and then they can just kind of wear you down with that offensive line. And this has been a methodical drive. Still have 1 timeout remaining.
They've got a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line, and they trail by 1. Backs in the eye. Play action. Aikman flips it out to Johnson. He drops it.
Yes.
Wow.
Very strange evening for the Cowboys.
In the land of the Moose.
Yeah.
That one didn't fit.
Well, Jay Novacek drops the ball. We don't see that often. Daryl Johnson drops the ball. You don't see that much. Troy Aikman hasn't really been on. He's thrown a couple of balls into the dirt. But the last couple of throws to Michael Irvin, though, he actually really drilled the ball well. But this
telling you, blame it on the mechanical delay.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it was the airplane.
Emmitt Smith only 27 yards in the first half.
Cowboys have been perfect so far this season inside the 20.
Why not give Michael Irvin another shot?
Post pattern.
We got him doubled.
There's Novacek. He's down at the 7. 25 seconds remaining in the first half. That is short of the first down. It'll be 3rd.
And they got 1 timeout remaining. You know, this is a play you have to be careful on. You think at first down, he's going to use it. He's going to burn it. Smart play.
Stop the clock, yes.
Yeah, generally when the clock gets under 20 seconds, you use your timeout, even if you only have one left. This is too important of a play. 3rd and 2, you have to have the right play. You can't rush yourself. And sometimes you got to win ugly. And thus far, this first half, it has been ugly for the Cowboys.
Are you thinking at this point anything at all about the first down? Or you think touchdown?
No, I think you're still thinking about the first down.
Are you? Okay.
Oh, yeah. At 15 seconds, you can get it up and you can still die it. Now, you can, again, I still think with a guy like Emmitt, there's Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator. I mean, there's a chance you could still slip him the ball inside.
Yeah, the matching of wits between Ernie Zampese and Tony Dungy.
Well, they both had their moments this evening.
The Cowboys have used their last timeout. And they face a 3rd down and 2 now, trailing by 1, 10-9.
Okay, the Vikings better jam Jay Novacek at the line of scrimmage. Don't let him have a clean release.
Johnson starts in motion. 4-man rush. Aikman scrambles, shovels it. They got him short of the first down. It's 4th down, and the clock is running. They can't stop it.
Got to get up and die it.
They can't stop it.
Throw it. Throw it. Nope. That's good defense.
Wow.
Good defense and poor clock management. Hey, Vern, that is an excellent half of defense by the Minnesota Vikings. It really is.
To a degree, Barry Switzer's offensive team shot itself in its collective foot, but the Viking defense should get a lot of credit. There's Emmitt Smith, and there's Broderick Thomas, and a huge play by Thomas, the linebacker. The clock runs out on the Cowboys. First time this season they have been stopped inside the red zone. The Cowboys will kick off, and David Palmer has it at the 10. Heads to his right, comes back up, and is dragged down as he gets to the 20-yard line.
You know, when you play the Cowboys, it's a measuring stick, you know. It's a measuring stick. In the first half, the Vikings have measured well. How about old Billy Bates, number 40, in his 13th year? I mean, he still has it. Still loves special teams. Bounces off a couple bodies. There you go.
I talked to Bill before the game. He and his wife, Denise, have been friends for those 13 years. He said they had their 5th child last July. That's the end.
That's it.
That's the end. They've got 5 now, including triplets.
Whoa.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The first 3 they had were triplets. Here's Chris Carter. And the tackle is made by Dixon Edwards as Carter gets out near the 26-yard line.
Well, they came in, and you talk about balanced attacks. When Dallas came into this game, they were the most balanced team in football. But they're a little bit out of whack in the first half. They threw 19 passes and only 9 rushes. And you see what Minnesota did. And that's why they controlled the game. You know, 18 minutes possession to 11. And change for Dallas.
10-9 is the score. 2nd down and 5. Double tight end set. Carter in motion. Leon Lett, Robert Smith. Oh, boy.
Yeah, there have been some collisions, and Leon Lett looks like he's hurt. Boy, you know, Haley went out for a while with a hamstring. Lett bounces up, but this is it underscores how the Cowboys are a little bit different. They do not have the proven depth that they've had in the past. And they got Chad Hennings, who's a good 3rd tackle. He's over McDaniels right here, number 64. You'll see him.
Now that's an all-pro guard he just shoved aside.
Yeah, McDaniel weighs 275 pounds. They just kind of disposed of him. There was a pile, one of those pile-up things. Same kind of thing they had with Chris Hampton.
Sack of Flower.
Yeah.
3rd and 6. Flower is spelled F-J-L-O-U-R.
There's one. There's one.
Jay Green, flag is down. They may get a push-off here one way or the other. Let's see. This could go against Reed.
Yeah, that's what the Cowboys are arguing. Well, speaking of push-offs, you mentioned the anniversary of the past 20 years ago when Drew Pearson caught it. That was a classic push-off.
Well, only now is Drew conceding that maybe he touched Nate Wright.
Pass interference by the offense.
It's kind of a mini push, but he got busted. If they're going to call defensive backs for all the little ticky-tack stuff, they should call the receivers from time to time, and they did there on Reed.
That game was played at the old Metropolitan Stadium in December of 1975. The Cowboys came up here as a wild card play, and the Hail Mary pass is remembered by so many, but 2 plays before the Hail Mary, the Cowboys had a 4th and 16, and Roger Staubach hit Drew Pearson for a gain of 25. That was really a significant play. Yeah, I think Drew may have pushed.
He did. Absolutely did.
Moon.
Oh, there's a penalty.
We're going to get it back.
Yeah.
Larry Brown hit Jake Reed.
But you know what? Not a bad penalty, because I think Jake Reed is going to blow by Larry Brown on that one. He didn't tackle him, but he did the next best thing. He made sure he was not going to run by him cleanly. So second half matchup, Jake Reed and Larry Brown going at it. Last time Larry Brown won the matchup. That was an intentional interference by Larry Brown, and that is a smart play, Vern, because he was going to blow by him. He was beaten, and he knew it.
He applauded himself.
Yeah, he deserves to be applauded.
Sure did. That is the first Dallas penalty tonight. And it gives the Vikings a first down at the 35-yard line. 10-9 Minnesota. Carter comes left. Moon goes right. Pulls it back up, goes deep. Oh, Chris Carter and Larry Brown. Brock Marion was back as a center fielder, but Larry Brown had good coverage.
He did. But you give Chris Carter a chance. And that's all you can ask for. I mean, he's come up with some big plays on third downs. This was a first down, and they're trying to get him right down the seam. Good rush by Tony Tolbert. I mean, that kind of disrupted the rhythm and didn't allow Moon to set up. And here's the coverage at the end. So Larry Brown has been involved in a lot of plays to start this second half.
3 that we can think of.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. I got my calculator.
You're on your game tonight, Vern.
Oh, I tell you. Get me in the land of Lefse, and I just soar. There's a second down, and there's no game. Amp Lee, number 32. Todd Stussy, who started every offensive down last year as a rookie, going against Haley tonight.
He's number 73 there for the Vikings. That's a pretty good block by Stussy. And you mentioned it, every single play as a rookie as a left tackle. I mean, he learned some valuable lessons. He came to camp this year and told Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator, hey, I don't need as much help this year. You know, help the other rookie, Corey Stringer, who's playing right tackle.
Second year out of Cal. 3rd down and 9. No blitz. Moon gets pressure. Fires it. Incomplete. Almost picked off. Larry Brown again.
But Larry Brown's had a pretty good quarter, hasn't he, this far? In the first half, we saw him make some tackles, some physical plays. But the Vikings have been testing Larry Brown this second half, and he has responded. These guys have the cut on the nose the same place, I guess, because they're all wearing those Band-Aids. Well, everybody's cut themselves shaving in the same spot.
I think they're making a fashion statement.
I think you're right. It's hard to get off those things.
Mark Saxon. Hey, if Jerry Rice does it, it's in vogue. It works. Kevin Williams, the counter punch off the Saxon punt. He's out to the 28-yard line. And time has been called. The Cowboys be in Jacksonville next Sunday night. We've still got a full half of football tonight at the Metrodome. Minnesota leads it 10-9. Mike Zimmer, the defensive back coach, talking with Larry Brown and his teammates. Brock Marion on the right side. Well, they have to be satisfied with the opening defensive series of this half. Troy Aikman, 11 of 18 for 108 and a touchdown to Michael Irvin. Irvin's caught 5 for 71. That's Kevin Williams in motion, followed by Dwayne Washington. Aikman, one hopper. Got some pressure that time and is on the ground. Not injured, down.
He has had like 3 one-hoppers, and that's because of inside pressure. When you can't step up to deliver the ball, you got that inside push, it's hard to throw the deep out cut. And that's why they come up short a couple times, because some good inside pressure. That time I think it was Roy Barker.
There's Wade Wilson, who is the backup in Dallas now. And, of course, Wade, the starting quarterback for a number of years here at Minnesota. Second down.
I can't believe they're going to make a change unless Aikman is hurt.
Yeah. Emmitt Smith cut down again. Well, they did it to Barry Sanders last week.
And the thing is, you say, hey, if you shut down Emmitt Smith, we can throw the ball. And you're going to watch right here. You're going to watch Jack Del Rio come right through this hole and make a play. As soon as Del Rio sees the guard leave, he didn't overrun it. See, he didn't overrun. He was very patient play there by Jack Del Rio, and a good one.
And the Cowboys still searching for their first third down conversion of the night. They are 0 for 6. They're looking at 3rd and 9. And Jack Del Rio looks at them. 4-man rush, no blitz. Aikman caught by Novacek. That will be enough for the first down at the 40-yard line. That's the first conversion of the evening.
Yeah, and only the second catch for Jay Novacek tonight. And he's a guy that, you know, over the course of a game can really hurt you. He's on the right side, the tight end over here. That's Jay Novacek. And again, if you can give Troy Aikman some time, Barry Switzer said, if we just protect him, we can eat these guys up. That time it was pretty good protection. They didn't jam Jay Novacek, and when he does that, he runs free and he catches a lot of balls.
First and 10 from the Cowboy 40-yard line, backs in the eye. Blitz. Aikman pumps once, goes deep. Good coverage downfield, almost picked off. They doubled Michael Irvin, and Dwayne Washington and Charles Mincy were in pretty good position.
Did you see Emmitt Smith, though? I mean, Emmitt Smith made a heck of a block on the blitzing linebacker. I mean, sometimes you worry about running backs protecting your quarterback on a blitz. But Emmitt is a good blocker. He's a tough football player. It's the Barnett, the strong safety. He destroys him. He just blows him up. And that allows Aikman to follow through this time and get the ball downfield. Now, it was an incompletion, but that path wouldn't even gotten off had it not been for Emmitt Smith's block.
One of those tiny things you sometimes don't notice. Look at the average in the first 2 games. Here's Smith. Mincy. Broderick Thomas. And assorted others.
You're right. They're off, Vern. But to beat the Cowboys, it is a 60-minute ball game. You can't play them for 56 or 58, or you have to play them for 60 minutes. Otherwise, they'll beat you. So as well as it's gone thus far for Minnesota, I mean, clearly it's a 1-point game. And then with the weapons that the Cowboys have, if they get in rhythm, they can put up a couple of touchdowns quickly.
3rd and 2. The one man is Corey Fuller, and he tackles Emmitt Smith. But you just knew you couldn't contain him all night long.
Well, he got some good blocks right up the middle by Larry Allen, his right guard, number 73, who dominates Randall that time. Ray Donaldson blows his guy away. Almost fumbled that ball. Almost fumbled it. But you keep feeding him the ball. Picked up an extra 8-10 yards after a very forceful straight arm as well.
45-yard gain for Emmitt Smith. He's got 81 on 11 carries, and just like that. Backs in the eye. Here's Smith again. This time the penetration comes from the defensive line and linebackers. And Smith is caught for a loss back to the 9-yard line. John Randall. We haven't mentioned him a lot tonight.
No. You know, this is what Emmitt Smith has seen a lot of tonight, Vern. It's a lot of purple jerseys right when he gets the ball. Ed McDaniel, number 58, gets some help from Randall, and Harlan Barnett, the strong safety.
We come to you from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Vern Lundquist and Pat Hayden. The Cowboys trailing by 1. A missed extra point, the difference. They've got a 2nd and goal. Here's Aikman, quick setup. Coach Johnson, they scored on this last week against Denver. This time he gets it down to the 4-yard line.
Is he alone? I mean, he should have been stopped about 6 yards prior to where he did. We talked about Johnston doing the subtle things to help you win football games. He's the man in motion, number 48. It's a simple little pass. The accurate throw allows him to do something with the ball after the catch. If you force the running back to adjust to the ball, you can't do anything. But it was such a perfect throw, he could do something with the ball after the catch.
3rd and goal from the 3.
They were going to try to run that one in.
There's Ed Hockley.
Timeout Minnesota before the ball was snapped. That's their first charge team timeout.
Not sure why they did it, but they did it. We'll be back. 3 they got here on the legs of Emmitt Smith, a 45-yard scamper. Gave them a 1st and goal. They're now looking at 3rd and goal from the 3.
And a week ago against Denver, they ran a little pick play, and Darryl Johnston caught the ball out in the right flat and scored on it.
Aikman dropped at the goal line. It's 4th down. Coach Fazio. Minnesota defensive assistant looks on.
Yeah, pretty good play there by Corey Fuller again, Vern. I mean, tested the rookie, and Corey Fuller responded one more time. First, you try to put the pressure on Aikman, but it was very good protection. Throwing darts.
And the reaction on the sideline of the Cowboys. Kendall Watkins back up tight end. Here's Bunyol. He missed the extra point. Novacek with a hold. Whoa!
It's unbelievable.
Whoa!
Boy. Uh-oh.
My goodness.
That's 2 of them.
He missed an extra point.
Looked like a good snap. It was a good hold. That's on the kicker. That's not the snapper or the holder. That's on the kicker.
It's still 10-9 Vikings.
In the Raiders-Chiefs game at Arrowhead, tied at 17 in overtime, Hasty steps in front of a Jeff Hostetler pass, and he is going to go 64 yards down the sideline for the game-winning touchdown. The practically amazing Isuzu play of the day.
Well, right here, the practically amazing Dallas Cowboys have self-destructed. We've had 3 or 4 drops, a fumble from Emmitt Smith, and Chris Bunyol with a missed extra point and a missed 20-yard field goal. 10-9 Minnesota. 1st and 10 Vikings. Warren Moon will hand it off to Robert Smith. He does have that glider style, doesn't he?
And again, because of that and that long stride and the angular body, people just really, I think they're fooled by his speed, and because of that, they don't take the right angle and they miss him. He overruns, or people overrun him or underrun him. Now, what the Vikings desperately need this year is a runner they can depend upon all season. And tonight, or actually this season, Robert Smith has been that guy. And if they can develop him as a threat, this could be a pretty good Viking team.
Smith has 60 yards on 13 carries now. 2nd and 1. He goes right. Clayton Holmes and Dixon Edwards decide to treat him like he's in a rodeo.
You know, it's kind of surprising, speaking of Clayton Holmes, who made that tackle, that the Vikings really haven't tried working on him. He's a replacement for Kevin Smith. Played very well last week against Denver. John Elway did test him 3 times. He responded all 3. But the Vikings have been working on Larry Brown and not Clayton Holmes.
They did get the touchdown off Clayton Holmes. Jake Reed caught it in the first half. 10-9, 6:44 to go, 3rd quarter. Draw play, Smith. Robert Smith, the #1 draft choice 2 years ago in '93, suffered a torn anterior cruciate ligament late in the rookie season. And so was really limited last year in his year of recovery to third down plays. He then had a contract holdout this summer, something new in sports, and something unusual, and came in late, but really has played very well in the first 3 games. Here's Dixon Edwards getting helped off.
Robert Smith is kind of an interesting guy. Has a lot of off-the-field interest as well.
There is life outside of football.
Knows the difference between a gerund and a participle.
Good, he can teach me. That pass is good to the 40. Amp Lee, number 32. Robert Jones, the middle linebacker, a part of the tackle.
You don't know?
No.
Gerunds and participles?
I was absent that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention. And Amp Lee is the kind of the receiver out of the backfield. He has to fight through his own guys and then find the window to the quarterback. I mean, it's a small little gain, but Amp Lee had to do quite a bit to gain those few yards.
Dangling participle was a Simon Garfunkel tune.
Yes, yeah. Oh man, you gave yourself now, pal.
3rd and 1. Amp Lee. That should be enough for 1st and 10 Minnesota at their own 45. Darren Woodson made the tackle. Hey, we've got 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And if you just tuned in, Minnesota leads this thing by 1.
Yeah, and they deserve to lead this thing by 1 because they have played very well. Their defense has played well, and when they've had to have these tough little inside runs, they've either gotten them from Robert Smith or this time Amp Lee. Breaks an arm tackle, and they convert on another first down, or they get another first down. And the time of possession becomes more and more of a factor for the Vikings.
David Palmer's in the lineup, number 22. They fake the reverse to him. Warren Moon flips it out to Robert Smith, and it's incomplete. Now let's take a look at the Coors Light scoreboard. 49ers roll in the second half. Denver, Rod Smith with a great catch off an Elway pass. San Diego comes back and defeats Philadelphia. Green Bay wins in a tussle with the Giants. Arizona came from behind to win.
Big day by Harrison Hurst.
Yeah.
22 yards. Biggest day as a pro.
Emmitt Smith resting for the moment. 2nd down and 10. 10-9. Minnesota leads. Into the flat, caught by Andrew Jordan, number 89. And that'll bring up another 3rd down. The Vikings are 6 of 11 on 3rd down conversions tonight.
Well, and part of that is because of what they've done on 1st and 2nd down, Vern. They're not getting themselves in a lot of 3rd and longs. I mean, they're dinking the ball here, running the ball there, and they find themselves a lot, I think, in 3rd and 4 or less. Now, here's a 3rd and, well, probably about 5 or 6. But they've won the 1st and 2nd downs, and that's the big reason.
3rd and 5. 10-9. Minnesota. Straight 4-man front. Moon back across the middle. Tipped. Robert Jones, number 55, the middle linebacker, got a hand up.
And that's a good play, because I think Warren Moon had something going down the middle. That ball was thrown with some velocity. It was thrown with some direction. And Robert Jones, who's 6'2", gets a hand on it. Yeah, that could have been a touch. That could have been a touch to Amp Lee. Big play by Robert Jones.
That brings on Mike Saxon. Kevin Williams waits for the return at the 10-yard line. They come. Mike Saxon leaves the league and punts down inside the 20. It was Brock Marion who almost got there and who is stretched out in an injured position at the 40-yard line. Here's how close Marion came. Time has been called. We'll be right back.
U.S. golf champs face off against the best in Europe to compete for the Gold Cup. As USA Network presents 10 hours of exclusive coverage of this famous international event. Live from Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. Friday, September 22nd, starting at 8 a.m. The greatest golf is on USA. It's quality you can count on from Cox Communications.
Starlight, star bright, I'd like to make a wish tonight for a picket fence and a big backyard, a place that a kid and dog might like. To make my dream become a home, I need to find a good mortgage loan. Local service and approval with speed, great rates and low closing costs, I'll get what I need with a quick draw mortgage and a Lone Star to bank, only at Lafayette Savings Bank. Lafayette Savings Bank, you'll fit right. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Only one, Bob Royman.
It's absurd.
It's insane.
It's Super Bob.
With the Super September sell-off at the Bob Roman dealerships, get the lowest prices possible on all remaining 95 Toyotas, Hondas, Jeeps and Eagles, Lincolns, Mercury, Subarus, Mitsubishis, Hyundais, and used cars, too. We're flying high with fantastic deals at the Bob Roman dealership, Sagamore Parkway, Lafayette.
I must admit there are times (10-9) Minnesota, 3:25 to go third quarter. Sometimes I talk when I shouldn't, and sometimes I don't talk when I should. I'm going to learn. But here's Johnny Lever. I've known John as an assistant coach for 4 different teams in 15 years. He says the Cowboy offensive line is the best offensive line he's ever seen in the NFL. Pretty good testimony. That catch is made at the 24-yard line. John was a coach at New Orleans, the Chicago Bears, most recently with the Denver Broncos. He just came over as the new line coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and before the game he said this offensive line is out.
I think one of them's injured.
Whoops. Calf muscle. Yeah, that's Big Eric Williams.
And Big is right. All 322 pounds of him.
And that is a concern, Barry Switzer. Things thus far have not gone the way he'd like. We'll be right back.
We're out of here. No, please keep your hands in the cart. We'll come back for that later. That one needs batteries. You're gonna get Daddy in trouble. Excuse me? No, that one definitely has too many parts. We gotta go.
Right now, we're offering some of the best prices of the year on our 1995 rodeos.
I got it! Tap the Rockies! Coors Light! Tap the Rockies! Coors Light! Hey!
Coors Light, the silver bullet. It's shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies.
Tap the Rockies!
That's probably what they're talking about. Eric Williams on the sidelines. Ron Stone has taken his spot, number 65. There's Emmitt Smith to the 25, maybe the 26. It'll be third down, 2:40 to go. Third quarter. Ed McDaniel, number 58.
So the Cowboys, as this third quarter winds down, have always been a very good fourth quarter team. And a lot of that is because they've had great depth, and they're fresh in the fourth quarter. Some of that depth is gone, and it remains to be seen if they're going to be as good a fourth quarter team this year.
Ron Stone is one of those backups. Corey Fleming is in on third down and 2. 4-man Viking rush. Pass is caught by Novacek to the 35. That's another first down.
Ron Stone did his job on Roy Barker that time. I mean, if you don't have, 15 guys on offense that can come in and fill in at spots. At tight ends, that's number 65 is Stone. Again, granted, he's just going to push Roy Barker right past the quarterback, but that's all he has to do. Barker's momentum really took him out of the play.
Ron Stone, a third-year man from Boston College, a fourth-round draft choice in '93. First and 10 Dallas after the 9-yard gain. 10-9 Minnesota. Johnson, a rare moose call. And Nate Newton helps lead the way. Newton, who told us yesterday that he is the sexiest, prettiest 320-pounder in the league.
I wasn't going to argue with him.
No, nor agree with him.
But you know what? Everybody make fun of his size. He's a very quotable, likable guy, but he's a pretty good football player too.
Yes, he is.
He really is. He's part of that offensive line that's been playing together for a long time. Part of this unit that's played together for a long time.
Second down. 2nd and 6. Aikman across the middle deep. Oh, what a sandwich.
Man.
They popped Novacek pretty good. Harlan Barnett, who played last year in New England, and Charles Mincy, who played last year at Kansas City.
Well, Vern, this is only the 3rd game we've done this year, but this is the best defensive effort I have seen this year, and that's by the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they're shutting down some pretty good weapons of the Cowboys. And Emmitt Smith had one big run, but other than that, they've done a pretty good job on Emmitt. They've taken away Novacek. Michael Irvin did catch the touchdown, but he only has 6 catches.
And it's 3rd and 6 now. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Aikman, right side for Kevin Williams, incomplete. Corey Fuller, who's done a dandy job at left corner tonight. How about the rookie?
He has played great. Never intimidated. Bottom of the screen, number 27. They're going right after him, and they want it all on this play. Stumbles a little bit early in the play. They didn't call that pass interference because they felt it was not catchable. And Kevin Williams has not caught a ball tonight. I think this team right now misses the big plays of Alvin Hartman.
John Jett is on the punt. David Palmer waits for it. That one sails. Palmer with a fair catch. Huge punt by John Jett. And the Vikings take over following the Palmer fair catch at their own 10-yard line. Coming up after the game, TNT presents a tribute to a quarterback
who won 4 Super Bowls
and 1 Rhodes Scholarship. Reed. Wow, somebody got a hand up, and Larry Brown makes the tackle. I thought it was going to be blocked. Jake Reed.
That is a first down, Jake. And that's a big play. And everybody's so concerned about Chris Carter, you forget that they have another big play receiver on the other side. Hands up was Charles Haley, gets his hands up, but he had Larry Brown beaten early in that route. And he uses his, you have to use your size and position as well, and he did. That's a big play by Jake Reed. They needed him tonight, and he has been there tonight.
Reed has caught 5. The Vikings lead with a quarter to play. We'll be back in the Metrodome after his team leads it 10-9 as we start the final quarter. Here's Robert Smith. There's a tough run of 5 yards. Eric Williams strained left calf. He will not return for the remainder of the night.
You mentioned Chris Hinton being out. His replacement's Everett Lindsay, and he's playing over Russell Maryland. Now, Dave Campbell, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, was saying to us this week that Russell Maryland is his best 4th quarter player.
David Dixon is now in, number 71, at right guard. He's an interesting story. Flags are down. Robert Smith out to the 46.
Got the better of Russell Maryland there.
There's David Dixon, number 71, Pat, from New Zealand. Came to the States. He was a rugby player. He played at a Mormon school, Ricks College in Idaho, and then transferred down to Arizona State. Hasn't played football all that much. He was on the practice squad of the Cowboys in 1993.
As a defensive player.
Right.
Yeah.
David Dixon. Now, he is, as they say, or we are saying more often, yes. He is a gerund and a participle together.
Right tackle jumping the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Don't you? Yeah.
I think
Look that up next week. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
A gerund is a verb that acts like a noun and ends in ing. A participle is a verb that acts like an adjective and ends in several suffixes.
You are welcome to the continuing education.
I just thought you'd be interested. Now you know.
First, I do. I hope I don't forget, because I'll hear about it again. 1st and 10. Moon pumps, goes deep for Reed. Overthrows him. Clayton Holmes covering. Jake Reed
There it is.
Which is boil, double trouble.
Yeah.
All right. See, you wanted to know how you make lutefisk.
This is it, huh?
Well, it's codfish soaked in lye for a long time. Then you boil, you put it in ice, you bring it indoors.
And what do you do with it?
You put a newt's eye in there.
Then what do you do with it?
If you're stupid, you drink it. If you're stupid, you eat it.
No thanks.
2nd and 10. Oh, boy, it'll be 3rd and 10 at the 50. Jake Reed's made a lot of big plays tonight, but he probably should have had that one.
And one of the few times that the Vikings find themselves in a 3rd and long, a 3rd and 10. And this is where Charles Haley and Tony Tolbert on the outside can really put some heat on the quarterback. So on 3rd and 10, you better make sure you get Haley blocked. And even it means keeping a back end, a chicken.
Todd Stussy goes against Haley. Corey Stringer against Tony Tolbert. 3rd and 10. Shotgun. They stunt, 4-man rush. Moon goes deep left side for Carter, overthrows him into the Cowboy bench area.
Okay, the key thing here, Noah, for Mike Saxon, the punter of the Vikings, do not punt this ball in the end zone. You know, you can pin him back there inside the 20 and give your defense good field position, but do not give him a freebie to the 20-yard line.
Mike Saxon was a Cowboy punter for a long time when he came to the club from San Diego State in '85. He still lives in the Dallas area. Has some golfing buddies up here, as a matter of fact, watching the game. 10-man front. The Cowboys are coming. Saxon.
Oh, they got him.
They got him. That's going to be roughing the kicker. It goes in the end zone, but it doesn't matter.
The Cowboys have blocked 13 punts and kicks over the last 5 years. They did not take a good angle on that one. If you come up the middle, you got to make sure you're going to block it, Vern, because if you don't, you're going to run into the punter.
Joe Avezzano, the special teams coach, said to us last night, we are a special teams unit in a state of transition.
It's number 87, Billy Davis.
And number 42, Charlie Williams. That's only the 5-yard variety. It's an adolescent penalty and not the adult version, so it will not be a first down. Wow.
My.
There's Billy Davis.
I thought it was kind of the adult version myself.
I did too.
And one guy goes low, another guy comes high. I mean, you know, you could have really hurt his left leg there, actually, but they're going to punt it again. Again, you can't punt the ball in the end zone. And I don't think they'll come after him this time.
Mike Saxon. Kevin Williams waits at the 10. That's going to be too far.
No, that's a bad punt.
Yep.
Can't punt it in the end zone. That's a bad punt. Just gave the Cowboys 20 yards.
Well, if you're a lip reader, you know how Mike Saxon feels about it.
I want to give a guy like that the ball now.
Cowboys take over following the Saxon punt at their own 20-yard line. Troy Aikman for the night, 15 of 27 for 139 yards. 1 touchdown. He's been sacked only once. Total yardage now 219 for the Cowboys, 210 for Minnesota. And 2 big plays, one for either team. A 44-yard run for Robert Smith of the Vikings, a 45-yard run. Emmitt Smith of the Cowboys. Aikman under immense pressure. Wow. Harlan Barnett came on the safety blitz.
This is a really good defensive game plan that Tony Dungy has put together, Vern. I mean, they did it last week against one player, Barry Sanders. This week, they've done it against a whole bunch of great players. Aikman, Smith, Johnson, Irvin, Jay Novacek. I mean, this is as good a defensive game plan as you're going to see, and as well executed defensive game plan as you're going to see.
2nd and 10. Blitz is threatened. Aikman back. Left side, caught by Moose Johnson. He's got Donaldson in front. And Johnson all the way out to the 45-yard line.
And they changed the pace. The Cowboys, for the first time tonight, run a finesse play. I mean, they've been a power team most of this evening. They changed the pace. Ernie Zampese calls a little screen pass to the left, perfectly timed. And Daryl Johnston, watch the thing how he makes the last defender miss, too, Vern. He picks up an extra 8 yards, but he kind of jumps over the last defender and picks up an extra 8 yards. There. Puts his hand down, and that's a nice play. Very good play.
24-yard gain, 1st and 10. Novacek in motion. Here's Emmitt Smith. What does he do? Break a tackle.
That's number 65. The 5-yard penalty remains 1st down.